Hello, and welcome to Nigerian History Roqib. This podcast and YouTube channel is dedicated to sharing the stories and exploring the fascinating history of Nigeria. Nigeria has a rich ancient history that spans millennia. I cover it all, from its ancient history that spans millennia to its ancient empires and its people and its eras. So join me on this journey as we explore the history of Nigeria. Please follow and subscribe wherever you get me from for more content. A fun fact about Sarah Forbes Bonetta, originally named Aina or Ina, was that she was actually the goddaughter of Queen Victoria, who was the Queen of England at the time. And she's actually the topic of today's episode. Sarah Forbes Bonetta, originally named Aina or Ina, was born in 1843 in Uke-Odan, a village located in Igbado, a region of Yoruba land in West Africa. During this time, the Yoruba people were part of the Oyo Empire, a powerful and influential kingdom in what is now known as southwestern Nigeria. Uke-Odan was situated in the Igbado region, which was primarily inhabited by the Igbado people. The Igbado were a subgroup of the Yoruba people, known for their agricultural practices, including the cultivation of crops such as yam, maize, and palm oil. At the time of Sarah's birth, the Oyo Empire was experiencing internal conflicts and territorial disputes. The collapse of the empire resulted in fragmentation of Yoruba land into smaller political entities, including Uke-Odan, which became independent from the Oyo Empire. Sarah's birthplace, Uke-Odan, was a rural village characterized by close-knit communities and a strong sense of cultural heritage. The village was likely steeped in Yoruba traditions, customs, and beliefs, with an emphasis on the importance of family, community, and spirituality. When Sarah Forbes Bonetta was just 5 years old, tragedy struck her village in southwestern Nigeria. The peaceful existence of your Yoruba community was shattered when they fell victim to a brutal attack by the Dahomey warriors. These warriors, known for their aggressive raids and slave trading activities, invaded Sarah's village, leaving destruction and sorrow in their wake. In the 19th century, the Kingdom of Dahomey, located in what is now known as present-day Benin, was under subjugation of the Oyo Empire. However, tensions between Dahomey and Oyo began to escalate in the early 1800s. In 1823, Gezo, the new king of Dahomey, refused to pay annual tributes to Oyo, leading to a war between the two kingdoms. The Oyo Empire, already weakened by internal conflicts and the influence of Islamic jihads launched by the Sokoto Caliphate, found itself in a precarious position. The jihads posed a significant challenge to the stability and territorial integrity of the empire, causing it to weaken and disintegrate by the 1830s. As a result, Yoruba land became fragmented into smaller states. Exploiting the vulnerabilities of the Oyo Empire, Dahomey seized the opportunity to expand its influence eastward into the Igbado territory, which had been part of the Oyo's domain. This expansion included capturing Igbado slaves in the process, exuberating the already devastating impact of the transatlantic slave trade on the region. It was during this period of territorial expansion and conflict that Sarah Forbes Bonetta's village, Uke-Odan, fell victim to the invading Dahomey warriors. The attack on her village resulted in her capture and subsequent enslavement at a very young age. In 1848, parents tragically lost their lives, and many other residents of the village either perished or captured into the brutal Atlantic slave trade. Aina herself, just a child at a young time, became the slave in the court of King Gezo of Dahomey. Dahomey, located in present-day Benin, was a powerful West African kingdom that had become heavily involved in the transatlantic slave trade. The kingdom's prosperity and power was deeply intertwined with the profits derived from the exportation of enslaved individuals. The lucrative trade had established Dahomey as a major player in the regional economy, with vast wealth and influence at its disposal. Even after the British abolition of slavery, which came in effect in 1807, Dahomey resisted attempts by the British to curtail its involvement in the slave trade. King Gezo in particular was steadfast in his determination to protect the kingdom's economic interest. In response to British pressure, he defiantly declared, as quoted by biographer and historian Martin Meredith, that the slave trade was the ruling principle of his people and the source of their glory and wealth. King Gezo emphasized the cultural significance of the slave trade, with songs celebrating the kingdom's victories and even lulling children to sleep with tales of triumph over enemies who were reduced to slavery. In July 1850, Captain Frederick E. Forbes embarked to West Africa with the goal of negotiating an end to the Dahomey War and Dahomey participation in the Atlantic slave trade. Upon his arrival, Captain Forbes engaged in discussions with King Gezo of Dahomey, seeking to persuade him to cease the kingdom's involvement in the inhumane trade. During their interaction, the customary exchange of gifts took place between Captain Forbes and King Gezo. In accordance with this tradition, King Gezo presented Forbes with a variety of items, including a footstool, rich country cloth, a keg of rum, 10 heads of stools. However, among these gifts, the most remarkable and unexpected offering was Aina, who had been enslaved by King Gezo for approximately 2 years. Captain Forbes, recognizing the significance and potential implications of this gesture, saw an opportunity to intervene and provide a better life for Aina. Although her exact ancestry remains unknown, Forbes speculated that Aina likely came from a high status background, as she had not been sold to European slave traders. And this assessment was based on the prevailing practice of reserving individuals of noble birth for special purposes, such as sacrifices on the tombs of deceased nobility. In his journal, Captain Forbes recognized Aina as an interesting girl and acknowledged her dreadful circumstance under which she had been captured during the slave hunt. He recognized the inherent value and potential in Aina, which motivated him to accept the gift and intervene on her behalf. This pivotal moment marked a turning point in Aina's life, as she was now under the protection and care of Captain Forbes. He saw her the opportunity to make a difference and potentially offer her a different future, one that would lead her away from the shackles of slavery and into a life of freedom and possibility. Recognizing the dire circumstance that Aina faced in Dahomey, Captain Frederick E. Forbes was acutely aware of the potential for her to meet a tragic fate. In his journal, he expressed the grave realization that refusing Aina as a gift would likely result in her immediate execution. As he wrote, refusing her would have been signing her death warrant, which probably would have been carried into execution forthwith. With this understanding of the perilous situation Aina was in, Captain Forbes made a fateful decision. He accepted Aina on behalf of Queen Victoria, thereby securing her rescue from a life of enslavement and potential demise. With his mission accomplished, Captain Forbes embarked on a journey back to Britain, carrying with him a young girl who would soon become known as Sarah Forbes Bonetta. After Captain Forbes rescued Aina and brought her to Britain, he renamed her Sarah Forbes Bonetta, after himself and his ship, the HMS Bonetta. Initially, Captain Forbes intended to raise Sarah himself. However, upon meeting her, Queen Victoria was captivated by her exceptional intelligence, and she was impressed by her remarkable qualities. Queen Victoria took a personal interest in Sarah and decided to raise her as a goddaughter. Queen Victoria affectionately called Sarah Sally and ensured that she received the care and education befitting of a young princess. In 1851, when Sarah was just 8 years old, she developed a chronic cough attributed to the climate in Great Britain. Concerned for her well-being, her guardians made the decision to send her to school in Africa. In May of that year, Sarah enrolled in Annie Walsh Memorial School, AWMS, in Freetown, Sierra Leone. The Annie Walsh Memorial School, established in 1849 by the Church Missionary Society, provided education to young women and girls who were relatives of the boys attending the Sierra Leone Grammar School. In the school register, Sarah's name appeared as Sally Bonetta, pupil number 24, and she was enrolled in June of 1851. During her time at AWMS, Sarah received a quality education that would shape her future. In 1855, at the age of 12, Sarah returned to England. She was placed under the care of Reverend Frederick Scion and his wife, who resided in Palm Cottage on Canterbury Street in Gillingham. The house where she lived with her caretaker still stands today, serving as a reminder of her time in their care. Sarah's connection to Queen Victoria remained strong over the years, and in January 1862 she was invited and attended the wedding of Queen Victoria's daughter, Princess Alice. This invitation further emphasized the special bond between Sarah and the royal family, reflecting the deep affection and regard Queen Victoria held for her goddaughter. After living in England and enjoying a close relationship with Queen Victoria, Sarah Forbes Bonetta was commanded by the Queen to marry Captain James Davies in August 1862. Prior to the wedding, Sarah spent a period of time in Brighton, making preparations for the ceremony. Captain Davies, a wealthy Yoruba businessman, and Sarah returned to their native Africa following their wedding. They settled in Africa and had 3 children together. Their children were Victoria Davies, born in 1863, Arthur Davies, born in 1871, and Stella Davies, born in 1873. Sarah maintained a close relationship with Queen Victoria even after her marriage. In fact, she and Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther were the only Lagos people for whom the Royal Navy had standing orders to evacuate in the event of an uprising in Lagos, highlighting the continued importance and protection given to her by the British monarchy. Sarah and Captain Davies named their first daughter Victoria Matilda Davies after Queen Victoria, who also served as their godmother. Victoria Matilda Davies later married Dr. John Randall, a successful Lagos doctor. She became the stepmother of Dr. Randall's son, J.K. Randall, who went on to become a prominent Nigerian businessman and socialite. Sarah's second daughter, Stella Davies, had a relationship with Herbert Malike, the grandson of Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther. They had a daughter together named Sarah Abigail Idowu Malike, who was named after her maternal grandmother, Sarah. Today, many of Sarah Forbes Bonetta's descendants reside in Britain and Sierra Leone, representing a lasting legacy of her remarkable life. Sarah Forbes Bonetta died of tuberculosis on August 15, 1880, in the city of Funchal, the capital of Madeira Island, a Portuguese island in the Atlantic Ocean. In her memory, her husband erected an over 8-foot granite-shaped monument at Ijun in western Lagos, where he had started a cocoa farm. The inscription reads, "In memory of Princess Sarah Forbes Bonetta, wife of Hon J.P.L. Davies, who departed this life at August 15, 1880, aged 37 years. Her plaque commemorating Forbes Bonetta was placed on Palm Cottage in 2016 as part of the television series Black and British of Nigerian History. A newly commissioned portrait of Forbes Bonetta by artist Hanzar Uzer went on display at the Osborne House on the Isle of Wight in October 2020 as part of an effort by the British Heritage to recognize Black history in England. Sarah Forbes Bonetta made a significant impact and legacy on Nigerian history and through her life and legacy. As a Yoruba princess who was captured and enslaved by Dahomey warriors, her story shed light on the dark era of the Atlantic slave trade and its devastating consequences on African societies. Her subsequent rescue and adoption by Queen Victoria of England brought attention to the plight of enslaved Africans and highlighted the resilience of African people. Sarah's connection to Nigeria is also notable through her marriage to Captain James Labulo Davies, a prominent Yoruba businessman. Together they returned to their native land and had children, contributing to the growth and development of Nigerian society. Her descendants, including the Randall family of Lagos, have left a lasting impact on contemporary Nigeria, and she is a sign to us all that Nigerian culture and history has always been there, and that with a little bit of determination and a little bit of luck, you can get out of any bad situation. She is an amazing figure in Nigerian history. So if you guys want me to talk about any other people, please let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and follow me. Thank you guys so much and have a great day.